Bianca Belair's star-making WrestleMania 37 moment was nearly perfect. The wait for WrestleMania normalcy, plus a weather delay, was well worth as View delivered great wrestling, fun moments and memorable main event, and there is another night to go. Bianca Belair sent sellout crowd of fans at Raymond James Stadium happy by defeating Sasha Banks for the SmackDown Women's Championship to close night 1 of WrestleMania 37 on Saturday. There were some bumps along the way, but there was much more to like. Here are 6 takeaways from the show. It was Belair's moment and she and Sasha Banks absolutely crushed it together in a historic main event that saw 2 black women wrestle a singles match at WrestleMania for the first time. The two share an emotional moment before the bell run. It was a star-making performance for Belair, who looked like a complete powerhouse throughout. At one point, Belair rolled up Banks, who just drove through the ropes, and picked her up over her head. She walked up the ring steps and dumped her in the ring. She delivered that standing shooting star press and a 450 splash on top of a bevy of power moves that looked like they hurt watching from the couch. The snugness of the match was exactly what we've come to expect from women's wrestling in Wii. Banks brought that and frustration on her face throughout put Belair over in a big way. She really was the perfect opponent. Using Belair's braid to set up a Banks statement was fun to see. It was that same braid that finally did Banks in. Belair whipped her with it late, the sound of which could be heard probably outside the stadium, and it left a huge welt on Banks' side. After a few counter attempts, Belair lifted Banks up and delivered the kiss of death, for the 1, 2, 3 and the biggest pop and moment of the night to win the SmackDown Women's Championship. Tears came down Belair's face as her parents went berserk ringside for the kind of moments that transcends wrestling. View has a new megastar and a much-needed fresh face atop its women's division. It was all nearly ruined by announcer Michael Cole, who instead of reacting to Belair's pin, calling a kick-out by Banks multiple times until being corrected by Corey Graves. Cole went silent for a while, before going to a championship call. We may have to change the audio on Peacock at some point, but nothing could spoil this for Belair on this night. This one hurt. Bobby Lashley is still your champion in the biggest stunner of the night. The match opened the show and Drew McIntyre was the first View superstar back in front of fans like he deserved. The test-worthy joy ended during the physical and believable roller coaster ride. The match script seemed to be exactly what McIntyre needed. Lashley looked like a monster as he completely manhandled McIntyre for most of the contest, short-circuiting rally after rally. It gave the Scotsman, who had the crowd behind him, an unbeatable opponent to try to overcome. Lashley kicked from 3 future shock deets and then slipped out of the ring, leading to McIntyre doing a rare dive over the ropes to the outside. McIntyre later got Lashley in a Kimura lock for a great high-drama spot thanks to the championess selling. With McIntyre set up to finally hit the Claymore, NBs yelled to distract him in a spot that felt very realistic. It opened the door for Lashley, after a failed attempt early, to put the Hurt Lock on. McIntyre tried to use the turnbuckle to flip and break the hold. Lashley held on and McIntyre passed out to end the match. It is certainly noble of you to keep Lashley as a monster and protect the Hurt Lock, but it makes more sense to give your fans a moment to explode to after more than a year away. Yes, McIntyre fought to the bitter end, got distracted and didn't tap, but this was a big missed opportunity. Expect a rematch in which NBs can get involved. Also, why break up the Hurt business if Lashley was going to win? It has shouldn't come as a surprise. Cesaro and Seth Rollins stole the show. Rollins countered the swing 4 times before Cesaro was able to put it on for 9 turns. The counters probably should have gone on longer to create a bigger crowd pop, but it played into the story of the match with each guy countering and kicking out of every big move the other hit. Rollins landed a gorgeous corkscrew splash at 1.2. Cesaro eventually put Rollins in a UFO spin, then 23 swings and a second neutralizer for the 1, 2, 3. This was an excellent match and an even better moment for Cesaro to get a win in his first ever singles match at WrestleMania. His raw emotions to the crowd added even more that. It will be interesting to see what comes next.
But a shot at the Universal Championship should not be ruled out no matter who wins the triple threat match on night 2.
Backwards booking. The Raw Tag Team Championship match between New Day and AJ Styles and Omos was a strange one.
Big E introduced Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods in a fun moment and almost wore a peacoat to the ring in one of the oddest attires you will see.
It did work considering he is a bodyguard. The psychology was completely backward in this one and only worked to some degree. New Day cut off the ring by controlling AJ Styles like a good tag team would, the narrative running through this one. It did have an odd feel seeing New Day working as heels, but it created anticipation from Omos. The Tampa crowd rumbled when he finally got in, but then he proceeds to work as a heel big man and that enthusiasm died. Yes, you can say he was delivering a babyface-like payback for New Day's treatment of Styles, but it didn't feel right.
Omos treated New Day like rag dolls and had a cool moment when Styles jumped over his shoulder for a phenomenal forearm.
The big man powerbombed Kingston to get the win while standing on his for the pin.
View has itself a new monster and a formidable team.
It just took a weird route to get there. Styles is also now the 15th Grand Slam champion in history.